Today in the show, we're going to be talking about Noriko Ashida, Surge. If you didn't know that her father didn't believe in mutants, then this show is for you. So Noriko is one of a few characters that was created from Marvel's Tsunami imprint back in the day. Now the job of the Tsunami imprint was to bring over manga readers to comics, and it worked, kind of, but it had its weird quirks, like having a Japanese character in every single title. And Noriko was the Japanese character for her title, The New Mutants. So Noriko was born in Japan, and when she was 13 years old, her powers decided to manifest. Now her father hated mutants, or rather he didn't understand mutants. He outright said that he didn't believe in them. Now keep in mind, Japan doesn't have many mutants in the Marvel universe. In fact, the only heroes Japan actually has are Sunfire and Big Hero 6, and quite a few members of Big Hero 6 don't actually have powers, and other ones of them are not mutants, they're mutates. Nonetheless, Noriko decided to run away from home and eventually found herself in New York. She'd go to the Xavier Institute, but Helion would think that she was just a random homeless person, would send her away, and then when the students realized what Helion did, they would all go to try and find her, and they would find her trying to buy drugs, and all the students would be like, "Oh no, drugs!" So they would stop her from buying these drugs, but it turned out that these drugs actually helped her control her powers, and without them, she lost control of her powers, which absorbed electricity from everywhere around her and then released it from her body. It was only thanks to the fact that she hadn't had time to absorb any electricity that they were able to subdue her and take her back to the Xavier Institute, where she was fitted with some gauntlets that helped regulate her powers, much in the same way that Cyclops' visor helps regulate his powers. She was eventually put into the New Mutant Squad, but she did have tensions with other students, mainly Dust. You see, Dust was a very traditional Muslim woman from Afghanistan. And Noriko was the type of woman that was ready to fend for herself. She would cut a person if she had to. So obviously their ideals and their point of view of where women stood in the world were very different. After the events of House of M, only 27 students at the Xavier Institute would retain their powers. Then when all the other students left the school on a bus, the bus would be attacked and they would all die. It's also around this time that Nori entered a relationship with Prodigy, and she was made the leader of the new X-Men. Noriko's emotions started to take a much more dark turn around this time. Before now, she'd always been a bit of an angry character, but now her anger seemed more vengeance-fueled, which is why when the Sentinel Nimrod turned out to be around, she led the new X-Men in an attack against it, and she would overpower it with her electricity to the point that Nimrod fell backwards in time. There would be a whole adventure in Limbo that Noriko would actually miss half of because she wasn't around when everyone else was teleported to Limbo. She would eventually make her own way to Limbo, but then Pixie ended up saving the day, so the story was really more about Pixie than anyone else. I go over it in my History of Pixie, which you can find linked down below. When Messiah Complex came about, the new X-Men would go up against the Purifiers in Washington, and this is where they attacked by Lady Deathstrike, and Helion would be badly hurt. Pixie would try teleporting the new X-Men away from this fight, but she would accidentally end up scattering all the students between Washington and Westchester. Then Predator X would attack the Institute, and Pixie has the idea to teleport Predator X to X-23 because X-23 has defeated something like Predator X before. So she does so and ends up teleporting the entire student body to the final battle over the new mutant baby. It's weird because Surge was present for this story, and this was such an important story for the X-Men as a whole, but she didn't do anything individually important here or for anything after this, if I'm honest. She would move to Utopia when everyone else moved to Utopia. When Wolverine left Utopia, she decided to stay in Utopia. And then when Cyclops became a terrorist, she decided to go to the Jean Grey School. And that's it. She just hasn't done anything individually important since the new X-Men disbanded, which is such a shame. If I were writing for Marvel and I got the chance to write Noriko, I would request to write all of the characters that were in the new X-Men. What I would do is do a series where we revisit all of those characters and just kind of see how they're doing, just to make sure they're okay. Like visiting your friend that you haven't seen in a really, really long time, because I miss those characters, and honestly, that's one of the comics that really got me into the X-Men side characters. So if I was going to write X-Men, I would want to write the new X-Men or the New Mutants, and I would make it about those characters. It's super effective! Okay guys, that is it for today. So what do you think of Noriko? Please leave it in the comments down below. And also don't forget to thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more history videos. And also don't forget to like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, support the show by checking out my Patreon so I can make bigger and better and more history videos. And also don't forget to subscribe to my gaming channel, my vlogging channel, and follow me on Twitch. My name is Faust, this has been Exploring Comics, and it is super effective. So what inspired you to make this particular outfit from Love Live?
I think I was looking for stuff to cosplay for this event, and I kind of wanted to go traditional Japanese, which obviously didn't really work out very well. But after that, it was just sort of looking for ones that I thought looked cool. Yeah. Yeah,
so you just did what I did and was like, how can I just look cool, grab people's attention?
Yeah.
So I'm guessing you made this cosplay?
I did, yeah.
So how long did it take you to make it?
God, estimate about 30 hours of work.
Okay, 30 hours. I mean, that's nowhere near as bad, because we got to talk about